Hello, everyone. We'll start sharp at 4 p.m. just in next 2-3 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Hello all, good evening everyone. Before I start, if somebody can just let me know I am audible and clear.
You are, Ekta.
Thank you. So hello all, a very good evening. Myself Ekta, and on behalf of the Analytics team and our partner VCS on our roundtable, we welcome you all at Reaping Profits from Industry 4.0 Pulp and Paper Industry. So before we start the roundtable, there are a few guidelines that I would like to highlight and make you people aware of. Requesting all the attendees to be on mute when the speakers are taking the session. There would be a Q&A after each session where the attendees can ask their respective questions to the respective speakers. We'll be opening for the roundtable around 4:50 p.m. so that where the participation would be invited from the senior leadership from the pulp and paper industry. So I would just like to highlight the guidelines. You need to raise your hands, unmute yourself and on your video. Introduce yourself, your name, company, designation, and put your question. So to quickly start with, I would like to introduce our partner VCS. VCS offers digitally intelligent solutions worldwide. It includes real-time monitoring and analytics, IoT integration, edge analytics, digital logbook, and predictive analytics using AI ML. VCS takes the responsibility to engage with clients in opportunity assessment, calculating value of improvement, building of business blueprint, delivering required hardware, software, services, and support to ensure the improvement initiative is successfully implemented. Before we move on to our keynote, I would like to highlight why we all are here today. Digitalization is gradually transforming the way we produce products. All the industries.
We answer video started.
Requesting everybody to please be on mute. That would be really helpful. Thank you. With all the industries embracing digital transformation, pulp and paper industry seems quite ready to engage and geared up to stay ahead of the competition. This roundtable will be focusing on how IIoT is playing a key role in the digital transformation for the paper and pulp industry and will change the way People communicate, consume, and do business by connecting all the participants in the value chain. Today, we have senior leaderships joining in today from various organizations to discuss the key challenges, opportunities, and smart factory industry 4.0 solutions that are designed to bring considerable improvements in the overall factory efficiency, product quality, operational cost using data infrastructure, industrial IoT, and provide base for implementing effective AI technology platform. Now, I would like to invite Mr. Kamaldeep Singh, Executive Director and CEO, Value Chain Solution India, to share his insights on his thought leadership session. To speak about him, he's a strategic leader with more than 25 years of experience in operations and information technology management. He has worked with life science, metal and mining, chemicals, cements, paper, ports, oil and gas companies to help them improve productivity, efficiency, and reduce operating costs through digital transformation in various areas. Over to you, Mr. Kamaldeep, to take the thought leadership.
Thank you, Ekta. Welcome all, and thank you for sharing your time, all the speakers and participants. It's a privilege to listen to all of you during the session. The session on how Industry 4.0 contributes in increasing profit. The thought which came that how we maximize profit, particularly during challenging times. When we look at profit, we see there are two aspects to that. One is pertaining to smart products, pricing, expanding markets, and the other part is the cost. So today's focus more will be on how do we reduce cost? What are the elements of reducing cost? So when we are talking about Industry 4.0 journey, what we realized while working with clients, there are three major areas which clients look at. Three key elements, I would say. One is data-driven decisions. So it means decisions are not based upon only experience, but there is data, there is insights from the data, and decisions are based upon that. And second portion is nurturing the talent. It means your own people need to take those decisions. It's not that a consultant goes, advise certain things, give suggestions. The shop floor people, the mill operators, they need to know what decisions need to be taken. And third, another important aspect is the collaboration. Within the organization, among different teams, maintenance, production, and across industry, with the industry principal, data scientist, because they tell how to use data, what use cases or business cases we can implement. So when I am talking about data, then there are two aspects to that. One is the IT data, another one is the OT data. Here we are talking about creating a data infrastructure where IT, OT data is put together. It is seen as one continuum. IT data is, for example, anything which is there in ERP, SAP, fleet management system, etc. And OT data is what our machines generate, the temperature, pressure. A typical paper machine has more than 4,000 data points, 4,000, 5,000 parameters which need to be managed. So these are every second the data is generated. So if we can contextualize this data with our IT landscape data, then there is a lot of insight which can come out of that. And what value does it drive? This IT-OT integration or creating the data infrastructure, reduction of setup times, reduction of energy cost, reduction of chemicals which we used, the utility cost goes down, the quality of product goes up, customer complaints, reduction in customer complaints. We are working with certain industries in paper where we have found that these are the improvements which have taken place. Even the machine breaks have reduced. So how do we do that? And what has been our experience? I will request Mr. Pari to take us through the presentation and share various steps which we followed through this digital transformation journey. Thank you. Over to you, Ekta and Pari.
Yeah, thanks, Kamaldeep. I hope people can hear me clearly.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm just sharing my screen. Do let me know once if you guys can see my screen.
Sure.
Yeah, Pari, we can see your screen.
Okay. Good evening, everybody, and thanks for probably joining us today. My name is Pari Subaya. I've been working as in implementing ERP and MES solutions for the last 15 years. I work as a key account manager in BCS. So today we're going to talk about how we can probably reap benefits with Industry 4.0. Somewhere with where Kamal left off, I'm probably going to pick it up from there. I know we have been in the fourth industry revolution probably today. A couple of decades back, maybe we've been talking about the third industry revolution, how we can probably collect data, which is like in different places that gave birth to a lot of standalone systems where we started collecting data. So which probably helped us in moving towards a diagnostic approach in our manufacturing. And with the current technology, the way the world is moving in today, I can say that data is a new oil. It's become the most valuable asset for every company, right? Just not only in manufacturing, across every industry. So what can we do with Industry 4.0? What they're talking about is basically collecting all the data, putting them probably in one place, because accessibility is another major factor. So everyone today, we all sit in our own place with our convenient space. People want things in their hand. So how are we going to access this data? That becomes a point number one. And two, what can we do with this data? Do a lot of analytics, maybe move from a diagnostic approach to a predictive approach. So for this, you need to probably build a data infrastructure. So we at BCS, with experience of working with different companies across the globe, within 500 projects under our belt, have an extensive experience in IoT sensors and solution, working with a lot of system integrators in the past decade or so. We help companies build a data infrastructure, move them from probably from a diagnostic approach to a more of a predictive approach in their manufacturing sector, and help them probably with the golden parameter profiling, etc. So that's basically what we do in BCS. So moving on to the case in point today, we are talking about paper and pulp industry. So McKinsey, within the recent study, has identified that there's been a significant amount of growth and a significant amount of gains when it comes to, when we digitalize a plant, which is somewhere close to 10 to 15%. Surprisingly, the 10-15%, the contribution to 10-15% is not just about productivity or efficiency alone, right, from the shop floor. So even quality assurance department has probably contributed. The quality cost has come down. Asset health, so you can probably maintain. The maintenance department have probably contributed somewhere there. The maintenance costs have come down. So on a whole, in a global market, they're saying 10 to 15% of gains. And we're talking about PI system, OSI soft PI system, which has also been in a leading an application in the market, which 450 installations across the globe with various industries, that they have, the experience that they have. So today we're going to talk about a case study which BCS has done. ITC, I don't think I need to give any more introduction about ITC as a company. Everyone is aware of that. I'll probably go through quickly about the challenges that ITC was facing. We do have data to a certain extent on the shop floor, but then probably they don't have real-time data apart from one single area that they have. For example, there could be data available on the shop floor, process data, but the quality data is probably not available to an operator. When they have probably want to do an analysis, they have to probably run around to different departments to collect data, which I mentioned earlier. We did that probably a couple of years, decades back, with a lot of standalone system collecting data. So bring them all together, if they have to do an analysis, was a mountain of a task, and data stitching takes a lot of time for them. And other point is, if there is a customer complaint, if they have to probably go back with the process and see what had happened, what has caused an issue. Again, they have to go to different places to collect data. May not be as accurate as the information that they're getting. The root cause analysis takes a lot of time. Somewhere they probably get lost. So these are some of the challenges that ITC was facing, right? So their main objectives was very simple. Everyone should be able to access data. any kind of data that they're looking for. So how can we achieve that? So probably they want to achieve that first thing. Right from an operator, probably to the managing director of the company, should have easy access to data. So how quickly probably we can have, see gains of profits out of implementing a system, right? So that was the second objective. Third, the scale that they have, they probably want a system which they could easily, implement in other areas as well, scalable system, and it should be user-friendly. So some of the objectives that ITC on a whole had it. So what we do in VCS, in kind of an approach, probably a quick walkthrough. So we would probably do a site study, understand the IT landscape, try to build a business use case, which would probably give them an understanding of what kind of gains that they can get, probably run a pilot, show to the management, okay, this was the, benefit that you got out of this pilot, and then roll it out to, different plants and different lines that they have. So like I said before, so this probably looks like, in any company, this is how an IT landscape looks like. So you can see a lot of, like Kamal mentioned, there's an OT layer, there's an IT layer, there is always data collected from all different places. Everything lies in disparate systems. So, which probably helped us to understand bits and pieces here and there, but there's always a linkage, right, from your OT to an IT, right? So there's always interconnectivity between the data that we have. So what is our area of opportunity? Bring them all to one place, make it a one-stop shop. With that data, we can probably make sure our decisions are not made with experiences, with trial and error methods. It's probably more data-driven, factual data that we have, which tells us what to do. Accessibility becomes another easy this thing for people, so anybody can access data anywhere. So somewhere this waves a path, for Industry 4.0. So how does probably Pi fits in all together in this? So it acts as a conduit between your OT and an IT layer. Right?
I know that.
So thank you. So it acts as a conduit between your OT and ID layer. So you can collect data, put them all in one single place. We can talk to different systems, maybe right from ERP and MES, could be a data analytics system, it could be your PLCs and SCADA on the shop floor. So I can talk to all those systems, collect data in one single place, do a lot of analytics on that, and then help people probably do a lot of gains. So OSI Soft have been in the industry for the last 35, 40 years, which they are pioneers in this sector. Moving on. So what are the areas that we probably targeted in ITC? We probably help them create a central line dashboard, which we probably look at in this session today. We also probably help them, implement a condition-based maintenance, an energy consumption report, which probably tells them how much energy they're consuming, where they can probably reduce. Your role of equipment efficiency has been monitored. So helps them probably increase their equipment usage, or probably decrease if there is no use of it. The paper machine uptime, downtime. So there's not only just in production on the shop floor, this tool can help. It can be implemented in various different departments as well. And imagine having all the data from different departments in one single place and analyzing it and making sure where we can probably reduce cost, and which will have a lot of impact in a day-to-day basis. So let's move back to central lining dashboards. This is one of the dashboards that we created for IDC. So this is one paper machine, PM4. You can see the grade. So every grade will have a different dashboard that you can see on here. There is a color scheme which probably tells an operator whether the specific parameter value is within the range, or which is better probably for their, in a more efficient range, or it is out of range. So, and along with it, you can also see on the bottom, there are quality parameters, which tells him that, okay, this is what you're manufacturing, this is how the quality is getting affected. So this is probably helping give him more insight on what he does, take decisions quickly, more informed decisions rather, no trial and error, not with experience. There are facts right in front of you. With that, they can probably have a lot of benefits that we can build on. So this could be done with different grades as well. It also tells you a target value, which tells, okay, this target value is also built with the historical data that, using Pi that they have, gathered onto an historian, did a lot of analysis. Maybe a target value was for a temperature could be 55 earlier. Now with analysis, they probably brought down to 53, which probably is more accurate compared to what they did earlier. So those kind of benefits are also being reaped with OSI soft PI system being implemented in ITC. Not only that, so we can probably build more intelligence onto the system as well. So that could be real-time data monitoring, real-time data access for everyone in the organization. There could be alerts and notifications or emails sent to people. Typically, a paper industry, which is probably there for a couple of decades. Each and everyone is sitting in different places. The engineering guy would not know if a machine goes down. So probably there is an alert comes to him straight away, so he can attend it right then and there with the exact time. So you can see on the graph here, so the pre-pilot that we did, the ply-bond losses have come really drastically after we implemented a PI system down here. So there's an 80% reduction in that ply-bond losses. That's what we achieved with IDC. Apart from that, these are some general benefits or use cases that I can talk about. So eventually, in the coming session, so we have other speakers who's going to cover what all we can do with IoT Industry of 4.0 solution and using PI, what kind of benefits you can achieve. I'll probably quickly like to summarize here. With IDC, so they had different systems, we had data available at different places, so they probably want to bring them all to one place. Historical data was not available. I guess somewhere DCS and SCADA can store a couple of months or 3 months of data. So today they can have data for any number of years that they want to. Data accessibility was a huge problem. So what did they do? So what we did basically was bring in a real-time data infrastructure, build it for them, and then on top of it, build an analytics or build more intelligence, manufacturing intelligence on top of it, which will probably tell them what is happening on real-time basis to everybody, right? So this made them achieve, like I said, 80% reduction in the losses to ply-bond and integration between all different systems, right from MES to DCS to the ERP. Your root cause analysis has become very, very easy and more quicker, rather, I would say. So we can see a testimonial from one of their colleagues from an IDC. So they moved from descriptive to diagnostic and predictive to perspective. So somewhere in today's world, I think we're all moving down to more predictive analysis with the data that we have in hand. So with that note, I would probably like to thank you all for the opportunity and thank you for listening to me. So that's it from my end. Ekta, over to you.
Yes. Thank you so much, Pari and Kamaldeep, for sharing your insights. Audiences, if we have any questions with them, we can surely take that up. So I have already shared the guidelines. You need to raise your hands, unmute yourself and put your question. So we'll wait for a while, Pari, to people to have questions.
Sure.
Yeah. Also, to make it engaging, audiences, what we can do is you can also put your questions on the chat box, so we can take it from there also. So any questions, please raise your hands.
I have one question.
Yes, Mr. Suresh, please take it forward.
Yeah, my basic question is how to manage the cyber security. If you have big data, how to manage the huge data? It is a continuously recording and continuously we are capturing the data. How to manage the cyber security? This is the big challenge for the, whether it is IT OT combination platform. That I want to know from the speaker, any one of the speaker, to guide us. What should be the measures to be taken to take care of the cyber security when we are handling the big data?
Praveen, you would like to take this, or you want to basically Kamal can take it?
Maybe I would be happy and Kamal can add on. Suresh, I think there's a broader perspective about when we really look at bringing the control center data to IT and making it more visible. One of the important aspects we really need to see when we really talk about cyber security and laws and policies to be adhered, it is point number one, it is more towards the organization's IT policy decisions. How do you really want to manage? Number two is about the selecting the right products, which can be which have all the cyber security laws prevalence, in terms of working and everything. PI system, in the sense, when we really look at the example what Pari explained about in ITC, it's been connected to all the control center, control systems, connecting all the OT data part of it to the IT world of it, integrating with SAP. They have taken all the purview cybersecurity policies, putting up the firewalls in the proper places. And apart from that, Pi system itself acts like an a barrier wall between OT and IT. I would like to say that nuclear plants in US and everything use Pi system exorbitantly. So this is on a broader perspective needs to be designed. The architecture needs to be designed, and people from Kamaldeep's security team and OSS soft team can really help in making sure that those things are adhered properly. Hope that answers, Suresh.
Yes, yeah, sure. Thank
Thanks,
you.
thanks, Praveen.
Thank you so much for answering the question. So we can take the question as it comes at the later stage.
So, one question I have just, sorry for the interruption. I have asked one question to Pariji. Whatever last presentation you have shown, the ITC has done the wet end study, breaks analysis. So the breaks analysis, we can predict when the break will happen. Advancedly, we can do a real-time analysis and we can predict it when the break will happen based on certain inputs. It is possible in the live example of when running the mission.
You're talking about breakdown of a machine, right? If I'm right.
No, break. While running the paper, in a continuously running the paper, there should be a certain reason, there should happen one break. Disconnect the paper from the mission.
Yeah,
Take it up again. Suresh, if you really look at it, we divide this into 3 components.
Okay.
And I think, Mariana, our industry principal, is there in the call, and she has a quick run through with this particular aspects about
sorry, pardon?
Data concept. We have Mariana, our industry principal, also in the call, who will be taking up a couple of small presentation post within some few times now, where will be taking you to the data-driven strategy about how various paper and pulp companies actually are working on, right? As I said, one is about managing the data, then visualizing that particular data, and then creating a predictive layer to see when the paper break or those things happens. So can we park question, or Kamaldeep, if you want to answer this question further?
No, what my question is, are you hearing?
Yes, we can hear you, Suresh.
So what I'm asking, my question is, when we are integrating IT OT systems, when actually I have introduced myself first, just sorry for the interruption. I'm Suresh Babu. I'm representing from Quantum Papers. I'm working as a Vice President Business Excellence. My question is, when paper mission, the paper is reeling on the roll. If I can capture the real-time data, can we have a analysis when the opportunity of the break will happen? Some reason the break will happen 1 hour after. I can predict it by doing this artificial intelligence. You can say real time data analysis. This will be helpful for us.
Yeah, Mr. Suresh Babu, let me take this question. See, for any prediction, there is a couple of independent variables and couple of dependent variables. When we are looking at paper break, there is a lot of data which is required from different sources of data, so that we can see the predictive model can be built. It is possible to build a model. Only thing is we need to know what are the data points, what you have. For example, in case of ITC, we were taking data not only from MES or SAP, there is a Parsi tech system, there are other systems, there is the logbooks, there is a quality control system. We need to know what all data is available. If we say the data points are less, then the prediction becomes that much difficult. But if you have more data points and more history of data, where the breaks are also recorded, that this particular time the paper break happened, and that was the circumstances at that point of time. What were the parameter values and which grade it happened? Once we have a pile of data, then it is possible to build an algorithm. And what Praveen just said, that we have Mariana here, she will also share her experience word over in various paper companies where she's guiding and supporting OSA soft Pi implementation. So she'll throw more light on this particular case. But as per our experience on building models and predictive, getting the data at one place and the relevant data is very, very crucial for that. But it is
Okay.
possible, if I have to answer.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Suresh, and thank you, Mr. Kamal, for sharing your insights. Now, I would like to invite Mariana Sadid, Industry Principal for Forest Paper Products at OSI Soft. She works closely with all the forestry, pulp, paper, and packaging companies around the world. She goes on to say, the forest and paper industry is transforming itself with new digital technologies, and she is very excited to be part of that process. Along with Mariana, we have Praveen Jadhav. To speak about him, he's a country manager managing business for all South Asia countries at OSI Soft, now part of Aviva. Praveen has been working with OSI Soft since 2017. Prior to that, OSI Soft, he has more than 18 years of experience working with technology organizations to solve business challenges for a large enterprise and utility organization. And they are going to share their insights on importance of critical data management. Over to you, Mr. Praveen and Ms. Marianne, to take over the session. Thank you.
Thank you. And, thanks first of all, Green Analytics and BCS team, and would like to invite everyone out. There's been a great forum where we can exchange a lot of data in terms of how other customers are working. One of the important aspects we look at OSI Soft, we have been industry leaders from last 40 years, supporting all the enterprises. Very importantly, supporting their operations and ensuring that there is an improvement in that with the data-driven decisions, making the data available for all the operations teams, breaking the barrier towards getting this data, integrating with IT part of it and making more value out of it so that, from a business perspective, it makes sense. Really looking at, we've been proud, top 10 of 9 companies, paper and pulp, use platform PI system for their all operations, and ITC in their complete digital journey. I think, Mariana has been there. One of the important aspects I love about the overall working is, we work very closely with the companies, with all the companies in terms of making it more towards a consultative approach, driving more towards how the business operations can make more use cases, how it is going to help and everything. And that's where I think Mariana is here, and I would, request her to take the session and give more perspectives about how the global paper and pulp companies are actually, driving their digital transformation or, importance of the data in Industry 4.0. Over to you, Mariana.
Thank you, Praveen, and thank you everyone for your time. Pari did a great introduction into the topic, and I appreciate the questions. I think at the end of the session, we're going to have more time for questions. So if you get something, if you have a comment, you can put it in the chat, and that way we can also engage with what's happening at the time that we're talking. So what I have prepared for you today has to do with the importance of data management for Industry 4.0. We got a great introduction on the roadmap and vision for ITC. I want to share with you another kind of use cases from other companies around the world doing or working on digital initiatives. But first I want to talk about, why operations data is so important. Without operations data, Industry 4.0 doesn't happen. So we need to be able to capture this kind of information to move forward any initiatives that we may have. Right now, there are several trends in the industry regarding digitalization, big data, IoT, you name it, all those things. And that is very true. There are more sensors available. There are more ways to connect to those sensors. There are more ways to connect to data in general. But being able to do it in a disciplined way and in a way that makes sense for the organization is the most important thing. Some people believe that the main goal of Industry 4.0 is to have a digital twin of your operations. I actually disagree with that. I don't think that should be the main goal, but the main goal, like Pari was saying before, has to do with connecting the value chain, being able to capture the information and provide you with insights to make improvements in process productivity, asset health and reliability, reduce the process variability and improve the product quality, and of course, impact in a positive way the sustainability KPIs that we have available. So this industry we know is very intensive in the use of resources. So any improvements we can do to make the process more efficient will help us to have a better impact into the environment. So reducing the consumption of water, of energy, and also of emissions from our processes. So connecting us this value, the value chain requires that we break the different data silos. So speaking to, we need to connect data from the ERP with the labs, the MES, data coming from the machines directly. It's a very, very important aspect. And right now we are talking about, well, how do we do it with technology? How do we automate this process? And of course, we have to have a data platform that is able to collect and store data from very, very, very long periods of time at the right speed, in a clean way and in an accurate way. We do this straight from the source. So based on the variables that you're collecting, there was a number put out. A paper machine has 4,000 to 5,000 variables of data, and that is very true. And when we look at the whole process, if you have an integrated mill with a pulp and paper operation, you can have probably tens of thousands of data points. So being able to collect the data, the frequency that this information is happening in a clean way and in an accurate way has to be able to be managed by the system that is connecting the data. We need to be able to add context and organize the raw data that is coming to the system. This will make it understandable not only to the systems consuming that data. For example, AI or machine learning algorithms have been a part of the conversation already. So they need to be able to understand the data that is coming from operations, but also people need to be able to understand the data that is coming from operations. Not everyone on the operations side is familiar with the tax from the control system, for instance. So we need to make it understandable for people to be able to search and consume the information that they are having access to. We need to be able to share the data between different departments and also with other suppliers. So some of the promises of Industry 4.0 has to do with building a community of partners based on data to make data-driven decisions. So sharing the information securely, cybersecurity was also another question, is of utmost importance. And of course, the availability of data, being able to visualize it at any time on demand, and having notifications that will make the data more proactive in order to make timely decisions. So all this needs to happen on the technology side. There needs to be a way to automate it, to automate this data flow process. And we believe the PI system does exactly that. Right now, we are leveraging on-prem technologies to do that, but also as we start seeing an explosion on new IoT sensors, the cloud technologies become into the equation and are starting to get relevance into how to manage the data, how to aggregate it and put it forward either for advanced analytics or for visualization at different points in the company. Now, one side is the technology. So I already covered more or less the technology aspect of things, but Industry 4.0 also touches on new roles and responsibilities from the IT and the OT teams. There's need to be more collaboration. There's need to be more synergies. So it actually changes the way we work. I don't know from the audience here who is on the IT side and who is on the OT side, But I'm hoping that we have people from both sides of the family, and that is very encouraging, because that tells me that there is some kind of collaboration already happening in your organizations. There needs to be a plan for change management and in the data structure, in the data context. And this is important because in our system, and one of the things that we like to push forward is the need for standardization of the data, so that everyone has kind of the same methodologies for accessing the data, for retrieving information. So if somebody is looking for paper breaks, for instance, that was a use case that was put forward, there is a common way to look at paper breaks and the variables that impact that kind of issue in the operations. So if I'm looking at paper breaks, well, now what kind of change management of what kind of processes need to happen if I also want to look at the different reason codes that are different for each of the mills. So there has to be standardization, but also flexibility and a way to manage the changes that the mills in particular want to do to the overall data model that has been put together for them. And the other aspect has to do with the process on how we implement this, the digitalization initiatives. I do believe it has to be in an incremental way. There has to be a progression in the sophistication and the complexity of the models, and it is a journey. If you remember the quote from ITC, they said, well, from diagnostic to descriptive to predictive to prescriptive, it is a journey. And you have to go through each one of those levels in a very disciplined way to be successful and to reap the benefits at the different stages of the progress. So all this needs to be part of the equation. And I'm glad that we have a partner like VCS to guide us through that actual implementation. So now I want to talk about 3 use cases very quickly of companies that went from calculated asset performance, which is a very common KPI, to predicting health needs of the important equipment at the mill. Another one from reporting on sustainability KPIs to meeting climate neutrality. So they wanted to impact very heavily the KPIs that they have in energy and water consumption. And the other one from having an operational awareness kind of reporting that probably some of you already have at the end of the month, to prescribing actions to make the process productivity much better by improving product quality. And as you can see here, I put this in a circle because this is a virtuous cycle. Going from one initiative from the other and then to the next, it is a constant work. This is a constant evergreen benefit that you get when you look at Industry 4.0 as a program, not necessarily just as a project or as a fashion that might be happening right now. So if we take this seriously and we take this as a program, we can go from one initiative to the next. So going from operational awareness to prescriptive actions, this is Monday release liner. So actually what they did, or the problem that they have is, or had, was that they have, hundreds of grades of paper running through the coding machines. They wanted to be able to tell the operators, which is a different generation of operators, how to run the machine better based on the actual conditions of the machines. We know that over time, the machine performance degrades, even if we give it maintenance, and it just degrades because, equipment gets old. And also the paper grades changes over time. There are different needs, different markets. So this specification for the recipes needs to be updated constantly. And with machine learning, what Monday Release Liner was able to do was to have a dynamic model for these recipes and being able to tell the operators the optimum parameters to run a specific coding machine. based on the grade that was running. So, and they decided to do machine learning because really in Austria, where this happened, there is a deficit on the talent for operations. There is a generation of operators with a wealth of experience that is already retiring, and not enough new engineers coming into the mills to run the same machines. And even if they come, they don't have the experience that the former generations had. So they needed to have a tool to help them get up to speed and to be able to run the machines at an optimum way. So the challenge is how to continue the improvement of the product quality without big investments in capital, right? So without putting new equipment or without putting that many new sensors. So the answer was to use a PI system as a foundation for the data, so capturing all the data, and put it in a data model using machine learning algorithms that will predict the quality of the product before the results from the lab came back, up to 24 hours. So, and they wanted to do it with an accuracy of the model of over 80%. So once they met that threshold, they gave this information to the operators, started putting the prescribed parameters to run the machine. And today we are seeing that they have an 8% additional rolls of good quality coming out of the coding machines, which is an increase of 8 points in the performance of the machine. So, you know, you can make the translation of what did that mean to you in terms of benefits and saving cost. But for Monday Release Liner was a game changer, at least from this first site that they started working with. So if we look at the use case of ITC, that right now they have a center lining dashboard that is working great. Well, if we want to move further, we can take that data, use it to put it in a data model, and then start prescribing the operating parameters for the machines based on the grade that is running at the time, just like Monday Release Liner did. But I think it was mentioned earlier, we need to have the right information in history so that we have enough data to train those machine learning models. Now, the other use case is from Verso Paper, and they are focusing on water and energy consumption, not only to meet environmental KPIs, but also to reduce the cost of operations. So the thing about sustainability is that sustainability is actually good business because it helps us reduce the cost of operations. And in the case of Verso Paper, first they started very simple with creating a balance of water consumption throughout the mill. Right now, I'm pretty sure you have an idea of how much water you are consuming. Hopefully you know how much water you are consuming by ton. But in the case of Verso, they created a holistic water consumption model, which not everyone has. You probably have it by process area, by piece of equipment, but having a holistic water consumption model helps tremendously to know if I am consuming more here or less of this part of the process. Well, how does that impact my evaporators? Or how does that impact my paper machine consumption? So, or evaporation of the paper machine, that has to be part of the balance. So that's where Verso Paper started. But after they had that holistic model, they were able to use that as the starting point to create a data model. And they use MATLAB to build a mass balance and putting the equations of the process to predict the water consumption per critical equipment in the process. So the upper picture is that mass balance that they put together first to provide the operators with an insight of how much water they were consuming and how much they were impacting other process area. And the image at the bottom is a very quick view based on the schedule, the prediction of water consumption that they needed for that for the production of the day. And of course, they have limits on how much water they want to consume. And you can see a green and red kind of light to let them know whether or not they were consuming within the targets that they had set for them. At the end, what they really wanted to do by understanding the water consumption was to reduce the energy consumption, because we know energy and water go hand to hand. In the case of Verso Paper, they are in Maine. So in the winter times, the water that comes into the mill is at freezing temperature. So they have to raise the temperature of that water to production temperatures, and that costs a lot of money. So by having an understanding of the water needs and by being able to optimize the water consumption within the process, they were able to reduce the water consumption in 20% and the energy consumption in 9%. So that in times where natural gas prices are high, saves a ton of money for this company. And then the last one that did something similar by integrating KPIs from different process areas is Georgia Pacific. And the big difference with Georgia Pacific is that they did it corporate wide. So they went to all the different corrugated and cellulose plants that they have around the United States, and they implemented a single way to look at OEE, so overall equipment effectiveness. And you can do this because once you start tracking, go ahead, the productivity and the quality and the downtime of the machines, you're able to have dashboards that allow you to benchmark or to look apples to apples. What are the differences between the operations of the different sites? So I see, for instance, ITC going this route where they would like to benchmark different paper machines or different process areas across the different sites that they have and prioritize where they want to take actions, where they want to make improvements, just like Georgia Pacific is doing, because they already have the foundation to be able to do that. And then when we look at the asset health, in the case of Stora Enso, they also started with, well, let's do condition-based maintenance. So by looking at the performance of the asset, I want to know when is, in this case, they have a pump. When is a pump degrading in performance? But Stora Enso went a step further. They were running already CBM for about a year before they put that information into a data model to prescribe the threshold for the performance curves. Very similar to the Monday release liner example, where we know the performance changes along time, because again, equipment get old, data models changes. So they had a dynamic model to calculate the performance curve that in this case is in the center of the screen. It is the red line. That is the performance curve being calculated by a dynamic model. And then the blue curve is the current performance of that same pump. So once there is a variance big enough, then there is a notification sent out to the maintenance systems. In this case was SAP PM. And that way you trigger an automatic work order to start the maintenance cycle for that pump. And these are very simple examples on how you start capturing data, making it visible, and then put in a data model that will give you a prescription on what to do next or how to make the data actionable at the time that you see an important deficit or important variance in data. So in summary, operational data, as you see, is fundamental for Industry 4.0. Without operations data, it's going to be really, really hard that you go into any digitalization improvements that you may have in mind for your operations. I would say focus on the areas of value. Give priorities for those areas that will give you the most benefit. So here we talk about process productivity, asset health, environmental KPIs. And it is a journey, and go step from step. I know that we all want to go to the shiny object, you know, we want a digital twin with a 3D view and augmented reality. But we cannot get there if we don't understand the data that we have today. And if we don't have enough automation in our mills to make it happen. So start with awareness, manage by exceptions, by creating these notifications, and then start forecasting the data points to be able to optimize your operations. So with that, this is our contact information. If later on you have questions or comments, we're real happy to take them. And I hope I'm good in time. Ekta, I'm all done. So we're ready to take questions.
You are almost out of time. So thank you, Mariana and Praveen, for sharing your insights. So audiences, we can quickly take a question with Mariana, if any. So please raise your hands and introduce yourself and put your question. So we'll wait for a moment, Mariana, for the audiences. Yes, please feel free to put your questions. We are having thought leaders who will definitely answer your queries. So anyone?
I think
Looks like, yeah.
You can also put it in the chat if that's easier.
I've already mentioned that anybody has a question, they can just type in the chat box and we can take it from there itself. Okay, so looks like Mariana, you were quite clear with your communication and it was quite clear, interesting presentation. So maybe we'll have more questions when we open the floor for the open discussion. So that's where the real suggestions would come in and the insights would flow in. Yeah, so thank you again, Mariana and Praveen, for being here and sharing your thoughts. So now I would like to open the floor for the open discussion on leveraging the power of industrial IoT, a game-changing perspective, and would like to invite speakers to share their thoughts about the need for smart manufacturing and the opportunities of Industry 4.0 for the pulp and paper, with a focus on the elements like smart equipment, networking and connectivity, value chain integration, smart products, and data analytics. So before we move on, Mr. Mukul Verma is here. Mukul Verma is the Executive Vice President works with JK Paper. He is here for a short while now because he has an important meeting away. So Mr. Mukul, I'll quickly start with you to share your thoughts on the same. Thank you.
Hi everyone. Thank you, Ekta. It is my time to leave. I said 16:55 I leave and you are giving me a chance to speak now. Just point is that there are many things. It's a top driven activity going on in all the paper industry or any of the industries where we are talking about implementing the latest technology trends. But we have to see to it the baseline at the floor level, how people are equipped with, how much they are aware of, and what level of data or data capturing systems they have. Today, we don't have even level 1, we don't have PLCs in certain places, we don't have SAP in place where the data are being captured. We don't have MES system into a lot of industries where you capture. Mr. Suresh Babu was talking about web break. Again, there are many breaks where it happens because of the deposits or something. So even if we go in for modeling or something, so those data are not captured. If those data are not captured, then it will not be built up into the modeling part and they will not be predicted. So, and whatever models these days are being built, they are really helpful. Definitely one should go in for these type of, but awareness in the people who are the owners of the area, they should be that conversant with the benefits which they will be reaping out of these modeling. Maybe 25-30 years back, it was TPM time it was going everybody that people have to work on floor. Then Six Sigma came into where the set points were calculated with different DOE technology, doing certain design of experiment, something that was specific to a process and setting set points. Now we are getting into the analytics part. We are getting into the predictive mode. And for these things, there are certain places where we don't have PLC, where the IoT comes into picture, where we capture the informations which are not connected to the equipment or something, but impacts your processes. So wherein the IoT is coming into picture. Similarly, like there are sensors which we need to put into manually. When the operator is operating, they see a lot of things happening, but they sometimes feel that it should also come into modeling part. But if the data are not sent and the correct information are not sent, the models don't work well. So the strike rates are very less sometimes. For web break or something, the what you call strike rate may be 30%, 35%. They will give you false alarms also that web is going to, sheet paper is going to break, but it will not break. So a lot of things are there. It's a long journey, and that expertise cannot be built up in the people who are the owners of the production or something. We need to get certain people who are good into data science, data analytics, big data analytics, doing the modeling part, wherein these people have given presentation, they come into picture. But at the grassroots level, we need to make the unit in charges aware of the importance of those. Along with that, we need to start building up level 1, level 2 automation, level 3 MES system, SAP in place. Certain places IoT is to be brought into. So that is my insight. If not with the paper, I have spent around 28, 29 years with the steel industry. There also the system remains same. In paper industry also I am seeing same. Sometimes it is top driven that the senior management says you have to implement it and people are not accepting it. So the ownership is not there. So somebody has to come up into training, giving small. We come up, as you come up and give a very big picture of big analytics, something we should start with very small things. Introducing IoT has not come up into to that extent. Certain places, remote things which we are not capturing and making life easier of people. So apart from bigger data analytics or predictive tools, I feel the company should come up with the small things also, wherein which are cheaper on the pocket, and it helps the operator to ease out the things. End of the day, acceptance is only when operator feels certain benefit immediately. His work is reduced, something. So those type of things are there. So my request to Marina or maybe Kamaldeep ji or any other people who were there, Praveen. So bring in certain things which are very at the grassroots level, which will help people, operators, to make their life easy. So that's all from my side, because I have another meeting with my HO at 5 o'clock. So sorry for leaving this meeting. Any queries of anybody who have, I'm ready to answer a few of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mukul, for sharing your insights. Do we have anyone to share their thoughts on what Mr. Mukul Verma shared?
Hello.
Yeah, I would like to talk about it. I think
Yes.
it was very insightful. One of the incidents comes to my mind when ITC was evaluating what to do. They also talked about the same question. They said whether it is possible to implement in my environment. Will my people be able to understand the tool, technology, and they do the changes required in operations? So that is where the pilot comes quite handy. That do a small, take a baby step, make sure there is a benefit which operator, supervisor, they realize, unit head realize, and only then the system is well adopted. I think it was very well said, Mr. Mukul. Thank you for your
Just to add
inputs.
on with Amandeep's point here, I remember my visit to Bhadrachalam, Mr. Mukul Verma. I mean, just wanted to share after this Centerline Dashboards POC. You rightly articulated, it is really important to look at broader picture, but then take the small steps to make sure that we are going in a right direction. That's number one, and also ensure that we are covering three aspects. One is people, existing system, and also to ensure that it is not disrupted. So I still remember I had a call with Mariana at 7 o'clock in the evening when her time, bringing up all the operations people of around 20 people in all the paper. Right from who are operating the operations and everything. Kamaldeep's team was there in Ahmedabad. So we were kind of brainstorming on all the sessions, what could go wrong, what are the various things we should take up, what are the priorities set out. I think you brought out the right things on the table to ensure that that could be the right way to look at the digital transformation, our industry 4.0, our IoT, whatever jargons you name it, but then it has to be inclined with all the processes. Thanks for bringing it up, Mukul.
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. So before we move on, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Please, I'm parting off this session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mukul.
For being here. Thank you for your time. So before we move on to other senior leadership for Roundtable, I would like to understand any insights coming in from Value Chain Solutions from Mr. Shrenik or Mr. Kamaldeep. Over to you.
Yeah, Kamal, you want to basically show some highlights?
Yeah, I think it is the experience which comes quite like we were talking about giving the L1 systems are not there or data is not getting captured, or whether people will adopt the solution or not, whether they'll be able to take benefit of whatever technology is handed over to them. The point there is the benefit they are saying is as good as a pudding. So we need to see, we need to try that in a smaller one paper mill and make sure that run a pilot for 3 months or 4 months, make sure people understand what is the value coming out of the system. So once they realize the value, there is a lot of traction come. We have seen that in ITC, they were evaluating various things to make sure the technology which they select is good enough, because it is like a marriage. You have to work with the technology and it's a journey, digital transformation journey. The tool has to be good, it has to be scalable. If from one paper mill to 7, 10 or various units, and it should be integratable, vendor agnostic, various automation layers can be integrated. All those parameters, there is a huge evaluation which happened in IT before they finalize that, okay, we are going ahead with this project. So that's what I can offer as insight in our experience of implementing at ITC Limited.
And just to add to what Kamal said, Ekta, I would just like to add a couple of more points. When we do kind of a POC kind of a stuff, it's basically a joint effort between both the teams. We cannot say it's just the partner or the customer. Both the teams have to really jointly, closely work to ensure that we derive the success of the POC, to ensure that the management really sees the benefit out of implementing the larger systems that we are talking about. So the POC is definitely a stepping stone, a small step towards moving in the right direction as far as enabling and installing and deploying the right kind of technology.
Yes. Thank you, Shrenik, and thank you, Kamaldeep. Now I would like to have insights coming in from Mr. Anil Kumar, Executive Director and CEO, Shreyans Industries Limited. So, Mr. Anil, what are your thoughts, please?
Yeah, good afternoon. I represent Shreyans Industries Limited. This is basically a mid-sized paper mill. So our journey has been, as said earlier, it was started with a very, very old machine. In fact, with a second-hand machine imported from Belgium way back in 79-80, with an open head box, table rolls, all open systems, and running at hardly 160 meters per minute. But over a period of time, we have gone on a journey where we did modernize the machine. Today we run at about 750 meters per minute, the same machine which was 160 meters. And with almost the latest technologies in all the sections, starting from head box, the table, the press part, and similarly the stock preparation and the press and the paper, the pulp mill also. So our first experience with automation, you may say, was when we put up a QCS system way back in 1995. We were almost the first mill in the mid-segment, where a QCS system supplied by Walmart Canada was put up. And what I am trying to say is that we did take smaller steps, but the benefits were immense, and which encourage us to go on step by step to reach a stage where most of the systems are automated today, right from stock preparation till my paper machine calendar or the pop reel. There is hardly any human intervention today, and it is all automatic. But Industry 4.0 is still some distance away, where because we have local controls, local sensors, local controls, and through DCS DCS systems and PLC systems. But going to where artificial intelligence or IoTs are put in place, that is, I think, a little far off from us, because we are comparatively much smaller organization. But we are seriously looking into this, because our experience has been, we have been very progressive in our thoughts, irrespective of the size we were. But we are today one of the most modern machines. Maybe interesting to share, this is a 1958 machine. If you talk about it, this is almost 60 years old machine. But today the features are comparable to a very, very good latest machine in all the things, starting from a hydraulic press, hydraulic head box with the cross direction controls, state of art table, a shoe press, closed drawers, and then heated calendars and everything. It is a lovely machine today. And as I said, that from starting from 30 tons, we produce about 160, 170 tons per day from the same machine. So journey has been very, very interesting. And we have seen the benefits of taking away the human control and putting the automation wherever possible. Now the question is, do we go a step further, where even machines talk to machine through IoTs or artificial intelligence, because data points are many. We have individual localized controls, local sensors, but do we integrate it and so that a predictive model can be prepared for our, we shall be interested, but as said earlier, that looking into the size of the plant, our investment capacities, and then a commensurate benefit flowing into the operations. But let me assure you that if you start on this journey of automation, starting journey of artificial intelligence, the scope is immense, the benefits are immense. That is my personal experience. We did go for a shoe press when nobody was doing a shoe press, especially for mid-sized mills and agro-based mills. Our raw materials are agro-based mills. And we achieved almost 20% increase in production with the same machine. Single equipment, modern equipment gave us 20% increase, which was much beyond my expectations also. So once these certain systems are top driven, where top managements are interested, and have a kind of open dialogue with the people down at the operators level, and then a good consultant coming in, good expert. Mariana put it very, very nicely with her experiences, where and Kamaldeep also, a kind of pilot kind of a model where the benefits become very, very seeable. People can visualize that these are, see, I remember that we had the manual accounting all throughout. And once we went in for ERP system, everybody resisted it, because said, no, no, nothing can be done. We are very happy whatever we are doing today. And I being at the top, I said, nothing doing. I also don't know what ERP is, but I don't know everybody else is doing it. It must be good. Otherwise, it would have failed long time back. So if you go with this belief that similar things have been tried, have worked, and go with that kind of belief in you, and see, percolate that belief down to the operators level, these systems do work, and we do look forward to that, maybe through you, maybe some other partners, but yes, there's a journey worth taking. Thank you so much. That was my take on this.
Thank you, Mr. Anil. Great insights, great thoughts. So anybody on Mr. Anil thoughts, anybody would like to add?
Praveen, you like to share your views on Mr. Anil Kumar's insight?
I think one of the important aspects Mr. Anil Kumar touched upon, starting up small and, making the things we've been seeing from our customers' journey. It take about a smaller portion of work, and then, really looking at making the overall thing automated. And then one of the things even Mr. Mukul Marwa touched about is about automation part of it, whether, we do have automation at all layers. I think that's the scenario for everyone. Even in fact, if we take an example of ITC, they also have the same situation that everything is not automated. So probably, there could be a hybrid way of looking at making things automated, working manual, and very important point which Mr. Anil Kumar talked about is about how do we really transform the people who are going to use this. The operations team, making them aware about the importance, how it is going to help them in their day-to-day operations, how it is going to really make them more effective and efficient in the overall working. That's kind of an experience Amilek only talks about. Thanks, Mr. Anil.
Yeah, thank you.
Speaking of the people, I mean, there is a need for reskilling, right? To providing new skills to the people that are already in the mills. But I wonder, and I haven't had the opportunity to visit the mills in India, but I wonder if, you're going through the same generational change that the mills in Europe and the mills in North America are having. And that's an honest question. Is that an issue?
So my feeling is that people are willing to learn. People may be illiterate, but they are not idiots really. They are quite wise. See, education, I am talking about the operator level. They may not be very literate in their outlook, but they are not idiots. They are very, very knowledgeable. See, if you go through digital journey of the country, India, we are talking about a big digital change. Even at rural level, they may be illiterate, but they have adapted to digitalization very, very fast. So I don't have any issue on to the skill part of it. It is the kind of acceptance of that change. Skill they will acquire. People are good at acquiring skills.
Yeah, I would just like to add, it's the acceptance of change and probably the knowledge of what is the right thing to do. The exposure to new technologies, tools, IoT platform, all that put together. But yes, as Mr. Anil Kumar is saying that people are willing to adopt new things. Actually, we have seen that people are very enthusiastic, Mariana, to get into new technologies, new tool. In India, that is probably the culture. You say it is the IT hub. Everyone try to do something new. That okay, let's get on to that. We are talking about Industry 4.0, AI, ML. They want to get into that. They understand how this technology works, what benefit it brings on the table. I use this in my organization. So we've seen a lot of people who are quite interested in these areas.
Yeah. That is excellent, because then that means you have that cultural advantage. You don't have people resisting to the change. So that is fantastic.
Yeah. So that was an interesting discussion. So now I would like to have insights coming in from Saket Basu, Head of Sales with JK Paper. Over to you, Saket, to share your thoughts.
Good evening, gentlemen and ladies. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are.
Yeah, you are audible.
So my esteemed colleagues and friends from top management and manufacturing in pulp and paper industry, let me tell you that I represent from the sales of JK Paper, and marketing and sales. So my thoughts in this data analytics and how to utilize data for relevant to the theme, that is to manage bottom line and profits of pulp and paper. That would be limited to marketing, sales, demand sensing, and supply chain side, because you have already heard a lot about how we can improve our operational efficiencies, and with stalwarts like Mr. Anil Kumar and others, that I am nobody to add any value to that. So once the material is manufactured, and from then when the supply chain starts, where the supply channel and the sales happens, there is also a lot of data which can be crunched and analyzed and utilized, and internet can be used, and overall what I'll say, data management can be done to garner maximum possible benefits for our industry. First of all, we have to understand that what are the triggers which influence profits in pulp and paper beyond plantation, raw materials, operational efficiencies. It can be logistics. Logistics is as big as 5 to 10% in the paper industry, because we are an industry who operates at 50 rupees per kg. So we have to understand that somewhere 5 rupees per kg means 10% of our cost sometimes becomes logistics to the end consumer. So that's one of the major, I think, triggers where we can utilize data in a very interesting way and make our product more affordable and make as well as more profits for the industry. JIT inventory management, tracking of customer databases, and prediction of cyclicality in demand. These are, I think, the other pointers which can influence the bottom line of the pulp and paper industry. Now, I have just put my thoughts into 4 pointers, taking into all these aspects that what can be done, and I wanted to spend 5 minutes on that. One is market intelligence. Second, from the, again, I said from the sales and marketing and supply chain and logistics side, market intelligence. Second pointer should be digital sales enablement. Third should be pricing analytics. And fourth can be called as trade promotion optimization. On the first point, market intelligence, I think first what data can use is that understand the micro markets, granularity, and the blind spots in sales, which we cannot be visible to the naked eye. Everybody knows the major converters and the major publishers. There is a world beyond that, which tracking by utilizing modern data mechanisms is one of the things which we can look into. Multi-layer channel servicing eats away the profits of the industry as well as the customer. So that is where data can come up, where maybe geotagging of all outlets, geotagging of all converters, maybe capturing data from different sources from the internet or from good models of digitized yellow pages lists of converters, trying to understand their consumption from different data triggers. That can be one of the major things in this. Second point in this is demand cyclicality handling through predictive models, which is happening in many industries across the globe now, and also in the paper industry somewhere. This is very relevant in the last 2 years, where we have seen the demand goes up and down in the view of work from home, in view of instant lockdowns, and then again opening up. So demand sensing, demand cyclicality handling through historical data as well as predictive data can be a very, very important part for the industry. Third is that what I will say is the imports, exports data, the IPMA data, the FICCI data, different data brought under one platform and their analysis done to understand the trends in the same platform is something what I think can bring make or break for the industry. Primary sales predictors can be another point. The second point which I was talking about was the digital sales enablement. In colloquial terms, we talk about the chatbot. The chatbot where the customer can get into direct touch with a mechanized auto response system and need not come to anybody in the sales or the dealer team to get their basic informations updated or their basic services met. Properly implemented, such data can help in upselling, cross-selling between products, finding out the nearest dealers. Customer can understand where they can get the samples from, leads management, how when the lead comes to a salesperson, how it can be management online without a human interface. New product applications, the customer doesn't know what to do. Is there a paper to handle it? Whom to connect? Which company to connect? Leading them from that. All types of permissions and permutations and combinations can be put into such interface to give the real benefit to the paper and print industry. Again, when we were talking initially, we said about the costs. This is also a cost, a huge saving of the cost. Like I talked about the market intelligence, when we break down the channel into smaller parts or directly reach the consumer. In the same way, by digital sales and enablement, we can handle the cost of selling. Of course, the voice of the consumer and the voice of the dealer needs to be captured properly between getting into these type of data interventions. My third point was on trade promotion optimization, which is what I will say that many companies are running different trade schemes, especially in the B2C product and somewhere in the B2B also, where it is based, which can be totally based, analytics based, slab wise payouts, Maximization of sales can be done, keeping in budget into consideration and homogeneity of the scheme can be controlled by taking correct measures and by doing a digitized approach to all trade promotions rather than on the basis of the way we do it today in India. My last and most important point will be pricing analytics. Pricing analytics, what I will say is something which is the core of data, where data can really generate value by saving costs for the customer, by saving costs for the company. I already talked about logistics, which is one of the highest freight costs which should be optimized. Uh, Lead time, which is a function of price again. A customer gets something in 10 days and 30 days, of course, makes a lot of difference. It's a part of the price and the price of the cost. Historical data of the customer accounts, how to handle it through data, synchronization between the manufacturer and the customer, automated price communications to dealers to avoid ambiguity, avoid human intervention, and finally pricing waterfall dashboard type of thing, which is very important, which we are trying to think about in our company also, where we can understand the pricing waterfall all over India, SKU wise, product wise, geography wise, a certain dashboard by which can help us in decision making, a predictive dashboard from data which is there in the system, from data which is there in the market, like MOPs, like export data, import data, which can be captured and all can be conglomerated to take a decision, secondary sales data, tertiary sales data, so that decisions can be taken on pricing basis on a day-to-day dynamic model. I think that is one more thing. And lastly, international pulp parameters, which is the most biggest macroeconomic, I think, factor for us, for this industry, in taking pricing analytics into consideration, how we can modulate it in our day-to-day decision making. I think this is what I had to cover in terms of this. Thank you for patient listening. Anybody has anything to say in that, can I add it? Thanks.
Thank you for your thoughts, Saket. So do we have any thoughts to share on this? Any inputs on what Saket just shared? Okay. So now I would like to move forward by inviting Atanu Chakrabarti, Senior Vice President, Sales and Supply Chain with APL, and would like to know his thoughts. Over to you, Mr. Atanu.
Yeah. Thank you, Ekta, for giving me this opportunity to be a part of today's discussion. And good evening to all my learned friends of the pulp and paper industry. I would like to take off from where Saikat has been discussing, because I'm more on the front end rather than because I'm looking up the sales and the supply chain part. Okay, the main objective, basically, if we see reaping profits from the industry 4, is with the digital transformation in the pulp and paper industry, is to improve the efficiency of the manufacturing process, also to reduce the cost and provide visibility to the internal and external customer. Okay. And our objective of embracing technology in APL, we had the SAP for us, where the processes were already there and was inculcated into the SAP process. But we wanted to show to the customer that how we can increase their visibility and have a communication with them. And that's when we started our journey. Basically, I would like to share that experience with you all, is that in 2014, we brought in the Salesforce, which is basically a cloud-based platform where you can access it from anywhere. And that's where what we wanted was that we wanted to integrate and have communication between SAP and Salesforce. Now, what we did was that through that cloud platform, we gave it to our dealers, okay, and they were able to have the visibility in terms of how the order is being put in, what the order has been, what is the situation, what is the status of the order. And at the same time, we were also able to give them a prediction in terms of when the expected date of dispatch would be. Because our main objective was to delight the customer And obviously, we started measuring the KPI of OTIF on time and in full. So what we see is that what has happened is basically with this technology, it's not only giving visibility to the dealers, but also internal visibility, because whatever data was there, yeah, please. Whatever data was there, we were able to have it in that platform, and subsequently we were able to analyze it, and basically for the internal and also for the external customers, we were able to share it. Okay, once the visibility was there, okay, the customer basically had an impression that yes, I can see what is happening within the organization which I'm a part of as a channel partner, and at the same time I'm able to see what is the status of my order. And that visibility actually improved the OTIF from a level of 66, and it has been a long journey from 2014 to 2000. Today we are in 2021, and we moved to a level of 93%. So it's a huge jump, but it has been a very great progress as we moved on. And this also had an impact also on the production side also, because finally what we do is whatever we do it for our customers, right? So we had to bring in the efficiency in the manufacturing process, streamline the process. And I think one of my colleagues is there already. He will take you through what are the things which we have done in the operations side, so that we integrated the operations side and the customer side requirement. And that's how we were able to get to this level. And coming to Saikat's point, I think we have all this, what you have been saying, that we need the waterfall, we need the analytics in terms of pricing and all. It's all there in the system of Salesforce. And today what we are trying to do is basically, we want to go one step forward in terms of we have upgraded ourselves from the SAP to the SAP HANA. And then we will be moving from Salesforce to a hybrid model, where actually the customer, when he gets onto that platform, he will be able to see the entire thing, not only his order status, but his what is his payment status. Everything is there on that platform, and then he can go in and interact with us in terms of putting the orders. This is what I wanted to share. Okay, I understand the Internet of Things are there. There are processes, there are sensors which are there. Those sensors collects those data, and then subsequently puts all these data which is collected are then transformed into a cloud platform, where we can obviously slice and dice, analyze, and take corrective actions. Because if we do not embrace technology, we will not be able, because the market is changing, the market dynamics are so fast changing and so challenging. If we do not embrace technology, and if we do not go to that scenario of Industry 4, we will not be able to reap the profits. Okay, that's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Atanu, for sharing your insights.
Any questions from anybody?
Yes. So any questions or any suggestions or any thoughts what Mr. Atanu have shared?
Kamal, you would like to
I think Mr. Suresh
provide your views on Mr. Atanu's insight?
Mariana has already asked one question. I think Saikat and Atanu can respond to that. In addition to that, I have a small query on what do you think about channel performance management and reach expansion? Because in certain industries, we have found that expanding the market, finding new customers, new dimensions of the product, that is reach expansion, and building a loyalty in the channel. Building a customer loyalty is one part, channel loyalty, which I think Saikat also mentioned about managing the trade and promotions effectively. And do you think there is a bigger role which can be played by reach expansion or channel performance management?
Yeah, see, obviously you have to have those databases which is there. We also have the customer technical side which is there, on which, for example, we have people getting into our platform and saying that, okay, these are quality issues which are there. Similarly, we have customers where we have where the salespeople goes into a call and they try to understand from them what kind of paper they require, what is the application. Okay, that's getting captured also over there. So we have a database which comes in when somebody goes into the market, we have those databases which is there, and that also gives us an opportunity, because when the salesperson goes over there won't be competitor who is there, and whether we would like to get a share of that and move into that particular customer or not is what we can analyze through those data which are punched by the sales officers, which comes into the sales force, and we can analyze that. And that's how we have been able to increase our reach and also the penetration level into the market.
I have seen Mariana's question, so if it is okay, I can reply it now.
Of course.
Yeah. Mariana, I think you wanted to understand that how is the market demand changing with the banning of single-use plastics, and how the data that can be merged in the data models. So my response to that will be like this, that the banning of single-use plastics will have a huge impact on every part of the paper and mainly packaging board segment, especially the food segment and the food service boards segment, which will be drastically changing in the next 2-3 years. And all predictive models suggest anything between 12 to 25% growth in paper-based medium as compared to plastic-based medium. So that is which we are seeing in terms of the market demand, especially in boards, in packaging boards. That is the part. Now, whether this data is being properly captured and in the market intelligence or not, yes, it's a very relevant question. What we are doing, I can share. I'm not sure whether we are going on the right path or not. What we are doing, we are trying to capture all types of paper, plastic, or even not even plastic. There are other packaging applications, like you can talk about wood, you can talk about steel, you can talk about aluminum packaging, all types of packaging applications possible. We look into an application and we think about it, how it will move in the next 5 years. Basically, it's a qualitative data. It's very difficult at this stage to make it quantitative. But from the qualitative data, there can be triggers and thoughts coming out that which are the applications which will be moving. Of course, this will be a very interesting subject for all the data technicians and data architects to think over, how this qualitative thing can be actually quantitatively formulated, that what will be the impact of the plastics to paper movements. I don't know whether I couldn't answer it, but I tried whatever I could.
Thank you, Saket. Yeah. Yes, Mariana, please.
No, I was saying thank you very much for that answer. I wanted to, get your insight on that trend. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
So thank you. Yeah, quickly moving on to our next insights coming in from Soumyajit Mukherjee, is the Chief of Sales and Marketing with Imami Paper Mills Limited. So over to you, Mr. Soumyajit, to share your thoughts on this.
Good evening. Thank you very much. I hope I am audible.
Yes, you're very much audible, Soumyajit.
Thank you. Well, I think Saikat and Atanu has given a perspective of the marketing and the sales, where the requirement of the data. I would like to, go on a broader picture that we have seen the transition from maybe 10 years, 15 years back, how the system has worked, how the automation has worked for our industry from last 10 to 15 years, and how rapidly the automation and the system-driven thing are being used in our system, be it production, process, marketing, finance, accounts, everywhere. The technology or the software or artificial intelligence is becoming a most important requirement, and it will be, as days passes by, it will be more and more upgraded versions will be required, because now we are used to it. Now people will now require real-time information. People will require feedback, efficiency, all on basis of, now we are in a very, very competitive world. Even the process industry, if you see any new machine that has been incorporated or being bought, this auto QCS, DCS, everything is, or there is a software-based thing is there. So no manual intervention will be there. So we would require a very high upgraded information system traveling across the process industry, and new software development is being done so that all real-time pictures can be, captured, and that can be transformed and synced with the other information. And so a holistic information is given to the top management. And any new company, any old company, everybody is transpiring for the getting to that kind of software development or the information system flow. Be it the process from real-time data, how the operation so that the productivity can be increased, to the rewinder segment where the finishing is being done, to the shitter, to the go down. Today, warehouse management is a very important where the lot of wastages can be stopped, lot of dead stocks can be not used, created. So there is a huge kind of software and information system which is being built up by all organizations, small or bigger. And I think everybody has to bring into the systems the softwares, be it SAP or ERP, everything has got all the information available. We have to know how to get the information in a right way. So the way that information can be taken out, how the information can be taken out from there, and how that can be, presented to everybody, and it is carried as a tool for everyone, and everybody understand this tool is most important requirement for everybody. That is most important to know. In sales and marketing, what Saikat was telling, market intelligence, be it market intelligence or transport or logistics, everywhere the real-time data is very, very important to give service. If we do not have the data or the internet system, now with a call, we can locate every truck, every transport vehicle is being tracked and where it is, and we can give real-time picture to the customer. So this was not possible maybe a 5-year, 10-year back. So we have adapted. So the way India or the Indian paper industry is adapting to technology is very good. Manya, I'm telling you, we are going very fast. It's not that we are slow. And we will be reaching to the level of the European and the American system very fast. And we are very big adapters of new technology, and we are doing it. And in due course of time, be it Atanu was saying that we are all SAP to HANA, we have all shifted. So we have all data available, and we need more new modules, be it the CRM, SRM systems, everybody is in present. So paper industry, which was usually a only the real technology was on the machine, now have diversified themselves and became a more system driven, more software driven, more information system driven, because end of the day every profitability of the organization will depend on how the productivity can be increased, which was all on a manual level, now has changed to system level. So saying that, I would say my take will be that the more development from the companies like you, which you have given us, more insights you give to us, we will drive us faster, because end of the day, we all want to have the increased productivity level in our production system, be it our marketing system, the real data system, wherever it is possible. But how the most important thing, everything is available, but we are not able to capture in a proper way. And the new softwares or the new data management systems gives a very important picture to us. Coming to Atanu's one information, when you're going to a customer, when you are discussing, even there is a technical question, if you have the tools with you available at your hand, you can reply and give the answer to the customer immediately. So the value proposition today, the entire business is on value proposition, what value you create at customers end, the process industry, the production, how much value it gives to the marketing and to the company, all is a value proposition. I think this database management or the software-based management, which is being inculcated from last 5 to 10 years and has advanced like anything, is a definite boon to the paper industry, and we look forward to much more development in there, and that will definitely make the industry much more productive in due course of time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Somajit, for sharing your thoughts. Any takeaways or any thoughts from coming in?
Kamal, you would like to share some views on the insight shared by Mr. Somajit?
Yeah, I have a quick question for Mr. Somajit. A lot of places, people, there's a dilemma in people's mind to have their own in-house software or small point software developed, or one should go for a standard platform where which is proven and established in the industry, and then implement it in a way to get benefits of that. Which is the better journey in your perspective, to build a software for your need or adopting a platform?
See, tailor-made software are definite requirement, but definitely if you ask me on a long-term perspective, see, earlier what used to happen is, I tell you very frankly, these were all cost-driven things. So initially, the mindset of paper industry or any Indian industry was to invest on the capital equipment first, and then the bigger chunk is to go there, and the software development or this platform expenses were given the secondary priority. So what used to happen was that time local or small softwares or anything has been bought out, which I feel is not a long-term solution. We definitely have to, I have worked in ERP and SAP system. I think it's definitely the game changer to when you see in a long-term perspective. And definitely, and more modules coming up, I think this definitely helps the industry as a whole to, on long-term profitability increases. So we should not be short-sighted, and we should go for a much more, I'll say, used or being vetted systems which have been running, and which on continuous basis upgrade itself in a continuous process. But definitely some areas where generalized system cannot take care of, like Optivision was one of the software which used to do the decal matching for the sizes, because we have orders. So Optivision is one software used to decal match so that the maximum decal can be used for a packaging board or paper making. Otherwise, it was used to do manually. Now this Optivision, or there are small softwares came, but Optivision's database or Optivision's data output is much better than there are small softwares like locally available Netic and others which do only the decal matching. But in long term, Optivision gives a database where we see where the problem goes on during a period of time, where these small softwares definitely give only a single solution or a daily work can be done. So later on that you analyzing the things becomes very difficult if you do not have a standard software.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Somajit. Now we have insights coming in from Mr. Anil Singh, Vice President with Genus Paper and Boards Limited. So your thoughts on this, Mr. Anil Singh? You are on mute.
Yeah, thanks Ekta for inviting me, and good evening to all dignitaries of pulp and paper industry, Anil sir, and so many senior people. So basically, right now I am with Genus Paper and Board as Vice President Marketing, Sales and Marketing. So Genus is into manufacturing of craft paper. So here when I joined 2 years back, like during the 19 actually. So at that point of time, the orders and all, they were through email and WhatsApp and SMS that was going on. So what we have done the digitalization of complete order to delivery module. So that was the starting point actually. So which has benefited. So now like we have a started web portal for order to delivery module. So a complete order for dealers, consumers and all. So they punch the order and the processing and all is being done through software, through decal matching software. So that was so this has helped us a lot during the lockdown period and all when the this COVID lockdown was there. So as far as this I relate with industry 4.0 and basically when the 5G fifth generation network that will come and smart manufacturing that will come. So basically the Indian paper industry is already geared up and definitely it will see a change. And in times to come, basically, if we see the data points and all, if like as rightly said by Saiket sir, like basically if you see like most of the here it is basically B2B in craft. So mostly most of the corrugators, they are importing machines from BHS or from some Italy, and also they already have the like data touch points are there, sensors are there, everything sensors is there. So there is no manual intervention is there. So that machine costs are approximately 50 to 60 crores when the corrugators, printers, they are investing so much. So then the even GSM testing and moisture and all that is all completely automated. So the industry, now the paper industry needs to gear up as far as the Indian market is concerned. So like if you see the way back in India, like we have IPMA has taken up like lots of import was coming up. So we were pushing hard why imports are coming. Because if you see any imported paper, as far as quality is concerned, that is much better. Much as far as I'm talking about the craft, basically the craft segment only, industrial. So that way, if when this 5G industry 4.0 will come, when machine to machine will talk, and then this cost cost and all that will be also one of the factor would be there. So in that way, as far as marketing side is concerned, so we should have like customer geo tagging that was shared by Saiket, like geo tagging. So that way, if complete data capturing that artificial intelligence and all, that can help us in minimizing cost, sales and marketing cost, so that would be a great benefit to complete paper industry. And if you see globally like if you see the newsprint all industry is already going down. The major expansion which is coming globally, that it is coming in Southeast Asia only. There is no expansion which is coming in neither the Europe or any America. So the growth of paper which is like expected to come, that is in the Indian market only. India and China, this is Southeast Asian market which is basically going to grow. So this is what I take on this.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Anil Singh. Any thoughts on what Mr. Anil Singh have shared?
Mariana, you would like to basically share your views on what Mr. Anil Singh's insights are?
Hold on, I'm here. I think, I mean, to me, you guys are really opening my view of how digitalization affects not only the operation side of the processes, but also, you know, the sales and marketing side and how it is all interconnected. And I think when we talk about the value chain, that's what we're talking about. How to merge different different sides of anything that has to do with pulp and paper manufacturing and servicing the customers to the industry. So right now I am at awe and learning so much from the different insights that we are receiving from our different speakers. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone else, or we can invite Ashok Kumar Singh. So moving on, I would like to invite Mr. Ashok Kumar Singh, Vice President Operations and Mill Manager, Andhra Paper Limited, to share his thoughts and views on the subject. Over to you, Mr. Ashok.
Thank you, Ekta, and I hope I'm pretty audible. If not, I think you can give me a feedback so I can improve on it.
Mr. Ashok, you are completely audible.
Thank you. And it was really, it was a pleasure hearing, you know, the likes of Anil Kumarji and many others. Mr. Atanu, my colleague, was already shared a view and he was on the panel. So I would actually take the discussion one more time back to the operations because I come from operations. So I would be giving you a kind of what actually, in my understanding, in the understanding of what we feel at Andhra Paper, the digitization of the manufacturing means to us, and what is there in it for paper industry as a whole. So to begin with, let me tell you that the work that we have been doing so far in last 7-8 years, we have been doing a lot of work which can be categorized as a part of industrial Internet of Things, or you can say the digitization, or you can say some part of, you can say, Industry 4. I've got people from OSI Soft also. So we have been actually using a number of products that have actually put us on the advantage sides for using this number of products in the automation segment, which have given us some capability of operating on the cost efficiency of it. So what we have found is that, see, digital manufacturing or taking our industry to Industry 4 has a potential of the cost reduction of the total cost base as high as 15% of our cash cost reduction potential. So this very definitely makes a very good business case for any industry to go for any sort of automation. I will actually categorize all the digitization into broadly, say, 3 categories. And I would like to touch upon what potentials individual category is having. So the broadest category, what we have is the artificial intelligence and what you can say, the analytics part of it. When I was talking about last 7-8 years, we have been doing a lot of work, which was actually part of artificial intelligence and analytics. We are consolidating our operations to go for predictive analytics. And all this we are using to basically optimize our operations. If you say artificial intelligence and analytics, we have made use in, you can say, the fiber yield, chemical consumption and energy consumption optimization. And then predictive maintenance has been one area where actually we have used a lot of automation, and that has actually put us among some of the finest industry in terms of downtime on an annual basis, or you can say, in other words, machine availability. And that has actually added us to improve our this machine OME and machine OE, overall equipment effectiveness. So this all put together, this has a potential of around 9 to 10% alone. Then we come to automation. So automation, it can be a logistic automation. A couple of my friends from the sales and marketing segment, they were actually referring to it. But there is a lot of potential that we can do it. Of course, process automation. Some time back, Anil Kumarji were saying that the first memory he was sharing with us was of the QCS installation for the first time. So that was pretty much automation coming to operations in paper mill. So that is the time from where we have started on, and now it is coming to you can see almost a lot of other areas which we never imagined. Think of a situation where there is a breakdown, and minutes after the breakdown has taken place, there is a prediction how much percentage of OITF will be reduced as an impact of this breakdown at the end of the month. That is the predictability if we actually shift from what we are today to what actually Industry 4 can make it. So the basic, what I can say, the potential I see is improving the operational efficiencies by implementing, there are a lot of products. You can say the advanced process control APC modules are there. Number of people are actually offering it. This basically works on kind of an algorithm which optimizes all your process parameters, and finally makes you get out with a product with minimum resources put into it. So there are a lot of products already existing in the market, and there are products which actually a lot of companies are offering and working further to optimize. We have done, as I told you, in the condition monitoring that we do for predictive maintenance, we had been having a kind of approach which used to be called as a preventive maintenance, but that used to be very costly to us. So then we gradually shifted to predictive maintenance, and that has actually saved us a lot of resources, made us more available in terms of our machine predictability. And as Mr. Atul was referring to how the OTIF has improved, it has improved because we were more available on our machines. What we are taking up as a order management system, what we are committing, we are delivering it. So that can only be possible when your machines are more predictable, your systems are more reliable. So these example of condition monitoring, which helped us to stick to the preventive maintenance, is one good example. Another one I would like to share with you is the advanced process control for getting the fuel efficiency in the lime clean area, where it basically optimizes all the process conditions and brings you a condition which will require minimum furnace oil or any fuel. So this is all the use of algorithms to predict what is going to be the next process condition. Now we are from the analytics, now we are shifting in the same predictions, same set into the predictive analytics. We have been using Pi, which is basically a kind of a process information system, which we even had a capability of getting our process conditions, important key parameters, our machine ROPs, our machine downtimes, and pulp fiber line downtimes right on our mobiles. Even when the senior executives are traveling, we used to get a web-based mill view, which used to tell whether the digester is running or not, whether the major machine is under shut or it is producing, and what grade, how it is running. So all these things, when they become more effective for us and they are all to our service, it basically, in a net sum, it basically improves our predictability to the customer. So finally, what we actually get out of this is a better and more efficient operations. We are always cost efficient, and we are more predictable. And what we are actually committing to the customer, most of the chances that we will live to our OTIF. And of course, when we are optimizing it, the quality is a byproduct. Quality will come by itself when we are maintaining all the optimum parameters. So it is bound that what product we make is meeting all the norms. So look at the potential this industry 4 is having for paper industry. We are a continuous process industry. If one thing is stuck, the whole thing stops. It is not like many chemical industries which are batch industries. One part of the section you can stop and rest of the mill is running. It is not like that in our case. For us, the bigger is the plant, costlier are the mistakes. So what we have actually learned and experienced from whatever automation we have actually done in our system, whatever artificial intelligence that we could able to use, is that digitization of manufacturing is not only essential, it is also need of the hour. Now you see how this COVID is changing the market scenario every now and then. Every day we feel that, okay, now the condition is coming under control. The next morning we find a different scenario. So our predictability the capability of running at various different production rates is now much more required than ever. So these things, if we actually digitize our manufacturing operations, if we go for process automation, if we go for using of analytical predictive analytics, and if we use actually this artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, we are actually going to handle this situation. We don't know today market is bad, tomorrow suddenly it comes up. Once the corona comes to normal, we should be in a position to deliver to the market. So these things can only come up and we can make ourselves capable when we have the manufacturing so flexible and so predictable, and that is only possible if we are actually having a lot of automation, lot of intelligence and predictive analytics used into it. So this is what actually comes to my mind. There are a lot of things some of our friend was telling about the talent or the skill requirement. I think one of the challenge which we might be facing in coming times is that in the leadership team of our paper mills also, there are very limited people who are very much keen on automation, who actually come from the IT field. So the decision making has to be something very challenging for us. So that is one area. But at the same time, what this automation and this using the artificial intelligence can give us, there is a lot of talent shortage in the paper industry. I'm not talking about the engineers that actually run the department. I'm talking about operators. Anil Kumar ji was referring to this operators skill and potential capability. Actually, we depend a lot. Still, automation is there in many plants, but still we depend a lot on the skill of operators, skill of senior fitters, even to that extent. So if we bring in this automation and AI, actually, one thing I can assure, seeing the trend, is that a lot of physical and the skill, the necessity will reduce, because optimization will take its own course. Our dependability on the age-old operators who are skilled in one particular thing and run these things in one fashion, our dependability on them will definitely reduce. I'm not saying that it is not good to have experienced operators in the system. It is always good, they are the assets. But what I'm trying to say is that the system cannot depend on a particular individual or any particular kind of, whether it is operator, whether it is shift engineer. The system has to operate by itself. And that automation is the only thing which can make it happen. And that also, as I said, bring the quality also to more, variability reduction. The best thing what AI is doing is giving us a command on variability reduction. At Andhra Paper, we have a flagship program called Manufacturing Excellence, where our focus is building the cost reduction potential of the mill. And that all is actually about reducing the variability, your quality variation, your brightness variation, your different quality specs variations. There are a lot of variations. Using more higher consumptions are not very detrimental. The variability is very detrimental. We cannot be consistent to our customers. So those things, variability and our troubleshooting, lot of things, immense potential. I will be taking a little more time, but I just wanted to say more and more about it, because I'm really finding that it is giving us a lot of capability. So these were my views, Ekta and rest of the members. If anybody is having a question, please.
Praveen, you would like to comment on the views, insight shared by Mr. Ashok Singh?
Thanks, Mr. Ashok. I think you have really laid down the complete operational insight about data-driven strategy, right from taking the right data from the automation, where other panelists also talked about automation at L1, L2 layer. Taking this particular data from, and I'm pretty sure you also highlighted about the PI systems part of it in the overall automation, where data rightly comes at a handy for the guys to manage the data and take it to the right decision at the AIML. I think this is the way we advise and consult our customers. When we really talk to them, we always tell them how data can bring value at every level. I mean, and when operator starts using the data, he is actually creating a value out of it. Next level, when it goes to any of the analytics layer, it is creating a value, and that all things will become a valued advantage for AIML to bring more benefits out of it. Fantastic. I think I'm great. You have summarized the overall data-driven strategy for analytics. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Praveen. Kamal, you had something to talk.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask Mr. Ashok, when you look at a solution, it is, let's say, technology platform, and another element is people which have to adopt the system. And the third element is related to the way it is implemented, your partners who implement that. Which one is more important? Which one is less? What is a mix of these three elements? The technology which we are trying to adopt, then the people, internal team who is put in implementation, the core team which implements it, and the partners. What is the right mix according to you, which is a successful model?
Yeah, Kamal, I would try to answer you in this way. As always, it is basically a mix of all, but which is more significant in this. Of course, when the solution is actually tailor-made, or you can say complete in itself, it is more forgiving. It actually allows you to have a moderate understanding of it, and still it will actually help you, direct you in a right way, rather than having a pitfall in it. So it is very important that what solution you are actually resorting to, what you are opting for. For example, the PI, which Praveen was actually referring, there are many, at the smaller platform, there are many other solution providers. Some startups have also come. But actually, the industry domain experience also matters a lot. If you are taking a solution from somebody who has a domain experience, so the solution itself will be having a lot of detailing in it, and it will avoid you to commit any mistake. So technology, what solution you are choosing, that is definitely very important. Coming to the people part, those who are going to use it and implement it, I think it is a cause and effect system. If the manufacturing system, the workforce is having a mindset, and they only believe results. If by use of some predictive analytics, or if by use of any if we are solving their problem, they will believe, and they will actually buy this idea of going for automation. If it is only increasing your documentation and it is not giving you any solution, then soon you will find people will detach. So people engagement comes when they find that they are actually growing by themselves as individual by using this equipment, and the company also, they are contributing in growing by improving results. So actually what I have found is nobody wants to be bad. Even any paper mill, you can say, everybody has some ambition of contributing. So if they get the right solution, and it is all top driven. So if they get good leadership, decision making, and good solution, and maybe the implementation in the beginning will require some push. Once that push is there, and once it is implemented for some time, and the results started flowing, it becomes self-sustaining. Because people start actually relating to that. So they are also growing, they are increasing, their knowledge building is also happening, and they are contributing in improving company performance also. So it is a win-win for both. So there is no reason that in any given mill, it will not be bought in or it will not be welcome.
Yes. Thank you. So there are a few points which Mariana has also mentioned in the chat box that we can see. So any thoughts on that?
I actually just now I see. Okay, so I'm just reading out this one McKinsey report. Major impact on AI is on factory output.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's the one by Anil Singh. So Mariana
Yeah.
has mentioned in many occasions, predictive maintenance depends on vibration analysis. Is this
Absolutely.
also the part of your initiative?
Absolutely. We are actually doing the vibration analysis, in situ vibration analysis. All the critical 19, actually we have categorized all the mill into critical 19 category. For example, our actually turbine is one critical 9 item. Our continuous digester, top separators kind of things are critical 19 items. So those 19, those critical items are actually having the vibration probes installed in the equipment on the bearing size, and it is continuously being monitored. So what Mariana says is perfect. Condition monitoring without vibration analysis is just incomplete. We do have that, Mariana.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Ashok Kumar Singh, for sharing great insights. So before we close, do we have any thoughts coming in from Kamaldeep, Mariana, Praveen, or Shani? Or any thought leaders? Yes. Last thought, takeaway kind.
I think it is a great learning from all the industry leaders and a lot of thoughts which have come on the table, and we all need to assimilate it, understand various aspects, because each word, each sentence spoken today has a lot of value and a lot of experience behind that. So there's a great learning for all of us from the VCS team, and thank you for valuable comments.
Thank you all the guests. I think it was real insight and an interactive session. Obviously, we overshot our time, so that clearly shows that it was a real insightful and an interactive session amongst everyone. And I think a lot of good ideas and technology insights were shared amongst each other. No doubt, everyone being from the same industry, sharing this kind of insights is really good to see that all organizations are heading towards trying to implement different kind of technologies to evolve and trying to see to it that we move to our next direction and make India a huge manufacturing hub, which our Prime Minister also today is having a vision of making India as a $5 trillion economy. And I think your vertical definitely plays a big important role looking at this is something which is really, really good. So thank you once again, everyone. And thanks Ekta, thanks Praveen, thanks Mariana for making this session more interactive, more fruitful. Thanks all the dignitaries, thanks all the speakers for joining in and staying along with us for almost like 2 hours, 15 minutes and making this session a fruitful one. Thank you once again.
Yeah, thank you so much, and thank you for inviting us. Just an invitation from IPTA side. If Mariana would say a webinar on from IPTA side, so maybe we can have larger audience listening to her.
Yeah.
I think
Sure.
one of you and one of these days we can fix up a webinar on IPTA. We'll have much larger platform.
We'll do that. And special thanks to Mariana because it was 3 o'clock in the morning in the US where she joined in. So I really appreciate joining in such an early morning. So really, really appreciated. And thank you for making this session an insightful one.
We'll have you on much more godly hour rather than 3 o'clock.
Praveen, any closing remarks you would like to pass on?
Fantastic. I think Shrenik summed up everything, and Kamaldeep, it was really great. We've been, I think Mariana would be meeting global leaders in terms of talking to them, understanding. She also had got a lot of insight about the other side of supply, logistics and demands part of it from various speakers. I think there are multiple data points which we have been there. Holistically, yes, the right point you mentioned. We really have to look at it. How do we really make the overall manufacturing look at a seamless way of transforming themselves into a industry 4.0 or digital transformation. These are all jargons, but then at the end of the day, the end goal is one, which is improving efficiency, improving our financials, making more profits, and ensuring that we are growing and progressing well. That's fantastic, and I think a lot of thoughts for me also in terms of learning for my end, and it's always been a great pleasure listening to the leaders. Thanks a lot. It's been a great pleasure. Thank you.
So thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. So we have learned from all the thought leaders and leadership people who have joined us, like how digitalization being one of the key drivers today, for the entire process of paper industry. And the industry has already recognized its potential and are pushing innovation to gain competitive advantages, So on this closing note, I would like to thank our partner, VCS, Mariana and Praveen. Mariana, thank you. You are joining at morning 3 a.m. I really didn't know that. Thank you so much for being here. And all our guests who took their precious time out and being here. It was really a great session where we got to understand various perspectives and insights from all the thought leaders. We shall be updating the video link on our website shortly and sharing with you all, guys. My team has already put a feedback form in the chat box, So all the guest speakers who were here, it would be really great if you can fill that form and, share with us, because that really helps us to improve. Also, we have mentioned about one-on-one brainstorm virtual session with VCS. If you're interested to know more about their solutions, we would be really glad to connect them with you. So kindly follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for the webinar updates and insights. Thank you again, everyone, for being here. Have a nice weekend and please stay safe.
Yeah, and last thing, Ekta, to you and Chandra for taking this initiative and helping us organizing this particular thing. So really thank you for all the efforts that you and your team has also put in making this roundtable youth success. So thank you once again for you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks. Thanks. Bye.
Thanks to the people who attended and listened also.
Yeah. And I think stay safe, stay healthy. That's the only message we need to basically pass on right now.
Yes, stay safe.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Ciao. Bye.
See you.
Thank you.